You're in luck because I've just found the next big gaming altcoin for you guys, currently under 1 cent. But truth be told, Verasity, the project behind me, is a lot more than just gaming. These guys pretty much solve the ad crisis that's currently existing, not just in crypto, obviously, but in actual Web 2, real life. So Verasity, I've had my eyes on these guys for over a year and a half now. They are a very solid project, particularly because they are focusing on enterprise adoption, not just crypto adoption. So they're a very, very bullish project, at least in my eyes. So let's unpack it. And if you guys want to know a little bit more about Verasity at the end of the video, let me know down below. And of course, I will make a full in-depth breakdown so you can obviously be the most informed. But first, let's have a look at some of the fun stats, right? So the ICO price was not even 1 cent, right? 0.75 cents. And the current price is actually cheaper than that. So when you're talking about a good time to buy, this is screaming at you, cheaper than the ICO price, right? So we're about 0.63 cents right now. And the current market cap is $63 million, circulating supply 10.31 billion tokens, okay? Now, if you had $1,000 back when you wanted to invest before the 2022 bull market, right, you would have actually made 13,780 bucks. So when you're talking about return on investment, that's, by typical standards, quite good. Crypto a little bit different, but still, right, quite good. Like, that's about a 14x. And the tip-off point in the last bull market was about $388 million, again at the very, very tip-off, blow-off top, and the circulating supply back then was less than obviously what it is now, 3.64 billion tokens, okay? We're gonna get into some of these metrics in just a second, right? So my prediction for 2025, right? It wouldn't be one of my videos without a prediction. Well, I'm estimating around a 19-cent token, which would pretty much put the market cap at $2 billion. The circulating supply, it's still the same at 10.31 billion. It's probably going to increase a little bit, but it won't get any worse than 20.31. So if all of these, this is the max supply, right? If they were in circulation, this would be about 0.09, right? So about 10 cents-ish. So keep that in mind, guys, right? This is, again, the worst case. Ignore CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. They say 110 billion tokens max supply. That's actually incorrect. I'll get to that in a minute. Essentially, though, you know, moving forward, if you had that $1,000, you would make 30,000, well, technically $29,700, right? A 31x, which is quite good. Not the most amazing, but you might be asking yourself, Kyron, what the hell is Verasity? You're going on about token price. Tell us a bit more, right? So what is Verasity? Well, Verasity is solving a huge issue. And I'm talking about multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar issues, right? So it's ads. Advertisers spending billions on ads, and ultimately, what's happening? Well, bots are consuming around 40% of the advertisements, and what's predicted for 2023 is around $100 billion will be lost because of this factor. If you're a brand and you want to advertise on YouTube, wouldn't that just suck if 40% of your viewership and you were paying for 100%, 40% was bots? You're losing quite a bit of money, right? So ad redemption, what does this mean? Well, Google, Facebook, and all these social platforms, right, including YouTube, return substantial amounts of money each quarter to brands, again, people who want to advertise on these platforms, as third-party so-called ad fraud companies detect fraud, might I say, after it's taken place and asks for a refund. So you have, like, let's just say I'm a third-party company, right, and I'm advertising on YouTube, and I hire a third-party company to spot ad detection. It has to be done after, at least right now, after it's all said and done, right after the quarter. And they say, hey, look, you had about 38% of your viewership as bots. So, ask YouTube for, $1 or $2, whatever it might be, $billion back. And they have to give it back because it's bots, right? There's a very, very big issue with this. And ultimately, what does this really mean? Well, who gets the shit end of the stick? Well, not just content creators, but the viewership, right? So people like myself and people like you. So the reason why is because content creators receive less income. And, for most of us, this is our full-time job. This is what we try to do to get better at every day. And ultimately, we're going to be less incentivized to do more work because we're getting paid less. So then we can't pay the bills, and then we're going to be less active. And ultimately, your viewing experience will get diminished, right? It sounds so superficial, but it makes total sense, okay? So what does this mean? Brands are willing to pay 5 times more if they are convinced that ad fraud levels are low. Super important. If you're in a brand and you're told 110% that what you give up in terms of like paying for ads, that is going to be guaranteed at pretty close to 100% only humans, you're going to be pretty happy, right? You're going to want to spend a bit more on ads because, well, as they say, 5 to 10 times more. because you are guaranteed humans are going to see that. Therefore, your reach is a lot more than what it is, okay? So this is where Verasity comes in. Now, I mentioned Verasity was gaming. It's one aspect of Verasity, but first and foremost, they are this ad sort of anti-fraud project, okay? So Verasity detects and eliminates ad fraud on the spot, not after the fact, on the spot, and proves that viewership is genuine. Very, very powerful, okay? So storing it transparently and immutably on the blockchain so that the brands can see that in real time, okay, this is actually true, right? It's power of blockchain, baby. The solution is strictly for enterprise use. So this, what I've spoken about thus far, is obviously for big brands advertising, right? So what about us? What about the retail guys? Well, the VRA token, aka the circulating token, and I know this might seem a bit like, why is he mentioning circulating token? I'll get to this in a second, will be pretty much used to incentivize viewership. So us as viewers you guys can watch me, right? And you can earn VRA tokens for watching me as well. So there's a hell of a lot going on for Verasity, and this is kind of why, right? The design of the network is so intense, it kind of takes your breath away when you're first starting to look into it. Like, where do I go? What do I look into? So I'm not going to go into that in this video in at least depth, because ultimately this video is a filler video. It's designed to be quite short. So if you guys want to learn more about Verasity, please screenshot this slide right now, do some of your own digging. And if you do want to learn more about it, let me know. That's why I'm here, to help you guys, right? But I will kind of touch on it very, very briefly to explain it. So essentially, to keep it all simple, Verasity has its own sidechain where most of the network's sort of demand will be processed, okay? Of course, they do have a smart contract on Ethereum, and we all know Ethereum can't handle high TPS right now, and also like lots of storage. So the sidechain, aka Verachain, is where all of these enterprise grade things will happen. It's also where pretty much settlement will happen as well. So these enterprises can see in real time, hey, look, you know, we are actually having real viewers watching our stuff, okay? So it's the most important thing. The Ethereum smart contract is used kind of like for big transactions and also liquidity, because EVM kind of is the hub right now for all sort of liquidity, right? So that is why the Ethereum smart contract is there. It will touch on more on this in a second. Now, the watch and earn feature pretty much allows viewers to watch and earn and collect VRA tokens, right? So they're currently integrated with YouTube, Twitch, so you can go on YouTube, Twitch, and I think they put out some stats saying that they've pretty much covered 98% of the total viewership platforms out there, apart from China right now. So, you know, well, YouTube takes a significant portion of that total viewership, right? But essentially, you can go on a lot of these platforms and earn VRA, super bullish, right? Also, the VRA player, or the Vera player rather, I'm not too sure if this is actually existing still. I know it's definitely integrated with the esports. I don't know if it's an entire thing by itself still, okay? I haven't heard too much about that recently, but nevertheless, it's kind of like YouTube, right? Or Rumble, where it's its own sort of, you know, 60 FPS, 4K quality, like platform where you can watch and creators can go on there and produce content, right? So it does have an enhanced ad revenue as well, so you probably benefit more from this than over here on YouTube. Again, I'm not too sure if this is still going, but it definitely is integrated with the esports, okay? The most important part of this, which is running on the Vera chain, is the proof of view and Vera views, okay? So the proof of view is kind of like, you know, proof of stake, proof of work. It's patented itself. It's real-time bot detection, as we now know. It's enterprise grade friendly, of course, and of course it does have to be anti-fraud as well. And also, what we're going to touch on in a second is it's actually applying to NFTs. They kind of estimated in like 2030, the NFT industry will be about $3 trillion or thereabouts in value, because you're going to have companies that are obviously going to go out there for like movies, for example, and have, you know, obviously online tickets, which will be NFTs. So kind of Verasity stepping in there nice and early and saying, hey, we can provide you real like safety and guarantees that, well, one, your artwork won't be stolen, and two, like the artwork itself, the NFT, is legit and real. So also Vera Esports, this is kind of where I was leading you at the start of the video. This is like a big part of Verasity, don't get me wrong. And they've actually partnered with names like PUBG, CSGO, etc., and they have tournaments with prizes. And of course, you can do the same thing like with the watch and earn, and you can obviously earn VRA tokens by watching your favorite streamers, of course. Now, also the Veraverse, this is new, and it's going to be an NFT marketplace that hosts art, in-game items, and metaverse collectibles as well. And again, obviously, it's going to have more of a use case when we, you know, pair that with the proof of view as well. Now, also the Vera wallet, check this out. It's custodial, as you can imagine, right? But 350,000 users, that is insane. And also, it has an on and off ramp as well, which is obviously pretty important. But also, what I love the most is it's got crypto to fiat conversion, plus 15% APY. Let me just go ahead and push it out there, which is quite good considering the network is non-inflationary, right? Next, we have Brightcove. So who is Brightcove? Well, this is a company focusing on video solutions as they've partnered with Verasity, and they're the world's most trusted streaming company, offering video tech solutions to media and enterprise organizations. How trusted, you might be thinking? Well, very trusted, right? There's over 3,000 corporate customers in 70 different countries, and names like Adobe, AMC, BBC, Ford, and also the Premier League as well, trusting Brightcove for this exact thing, right? Video solutions, streaming, media, things like that. They work the back end basically, right? Now, in 2020, they had about $197 million in revenue. I think right now they're pushing between $40 to $50 million in revenue per quarter. So it's still a very, very profitable and large company, might I say. So they're great because essentially they've partnered with Verasity, and now Verasity can enter all of their sort of solutions, the proof of view, into these 3,000 customers and, you know, integrate with possibly some of these big names, okay, on the back end of things, which opens up more doors. This is all enterprise grade stuff, guys. So it's very important, but in just a minute, I'm going to come back to some concerns I actually have with this, okay? Now, next we have supply. So Verasity has a fixed supply, which is bullish, but it's not 110 billion like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko would lead you to believe. It's actually a max supply of 20.31 billion tokens. Now, the current circulating supply is 10.31 billion. So you might be thinking to yourself, where's the extra 10 billion tokens coming from? Well, they're in Veracity's hands, but they've said they're only going to be released with net positive acquisitions. What do these fancy words mean? Well, essentially, they're going to be acquiring companies, media companies, just like Verasity itself or Verasity Player, where kind of like YouTube or Rumble, for example, right? They're going to acquire these companies to then integrate, Verasity into their stack, okay? So obviously it's net positive for Verasity because that'll obviously create more demand, ultimately more reach, and then from there, hopefully more partners, okay? So that is why that is, kind of floating right now. So that's why I'm kind of confident in saying, look, 10.31 billion tokens are going to be in circulation for at least a while. And when we do have a more dilution up until the max of 20.31 billion, well, guess what? It's only going to be hopefully a good thing. At least Verasity will intend for it to be a net positive thing. Now, the 90 billion tokens that make up the difference might be thinking, what the hell are these for, right? Well, these are tokens called POV Foundation tokens and are only used within the Veracity's tech stack on the Vera chain. So they're stuck on the Vera chain. They cannot integrate or interoperate with the smart contract on Ethereum, meaning you can't sell them, right? They're just only used on the Vera chain. As we spoke about earlier, the Vera chain is obviously used for these enterprises to settle and review all of their different the metrics, right, that indicate that, hey, we're actually seeing real people look at our content, not bots, so on and so forth. So they can't be transferred off that. So it's very bullish, right? But again, CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko are probably scaring a few people off here because there is so much more dilution ahead. In reality, we're pretty much 50% diluted, and that extra 50% will only be a benefit to us, right? Now, the holders on the Ethereum smart contract, again, this is not the Vera wallet, only the ETH contract is 80,000. Not too bad, right? The top 100 holders in the circulating supply is about 93.91%. That is quite a lot, actually very concerning. However, not quite concerning because Verasity have gone ahead and actually said that these mainly make up exchanges and market makers. Now I'm going to put a screenshot up on your screen right now to prove that, right? So it's not concerning at all. Most of that 93% will be diminished after all of these, when we get rid of all of those sort of market makers and exchanges, okay? So that's fine. Now the Twitter, they have 287,000 followers with high engagement, and actually speaking of engagement, their average social engagement across all platforms per day is 7.87 million. This is phenomenal, and it's actually very, very important for us as users to know this because, well, this is a whole part of their sort of thing, right? They have all the different, the Vera esports, the Vera player, anything that, involves the NFTs as well, right? All of these different things obviously involve retail investors, which is where most of the demand will come from because, let me tell you a little bit about my concerns, right? So you've got those 90 billion tokens that pretty much you can't be touched. That's sweet, that's fine. However, the 20 billion that will eventually, in years to come, obviously be circulated probably in entirety, right? That is the main demand for the actual VRA token, right? Because on the actual Vera chain itself, those 90 billion tokens can't be used. So when they are, processed for enterprise demand, as far as I'm understanding it, that won't increase the price of the VRA token at all. What will increase the price of the VRA token is when retail demand comes in, which is why it's important to kind of integrate it with all those different aspects. However, the main aspect of the token that will at least get the most amount of demand is the enterprise section. And again, that's stuck on the Vera chain, okay? So that is essentially my concern, right? The VRA token won't have any token pressure because it's all stuck on a place that can't represent actual true demand, right? You can't sell it, it can't be used to transfer and so on and so forth. So please, if you're a Vera holder or an investor and you know a lot more than I do, let me know. Again, this is a feeler video. I did dive obviously into Verasity to create this video, but I definitely can go that bit deeper. So if you have any questions about Verasity relating to this, or if you can answer this question, by all means, I'm happy to ask to make a video, you know, in future and cover this. But ultimately, if you do want to learn more about Verasity, comment down below any questions you might have, or like the video. Just let me know that you enjoyed it and you want to see a deeper dive and breakdown. Now that said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate your time. And ultimately, hopefully the 2 videos on screen will actually quench your thirst a little bit for these type of content. You know, if you do like this style of video, I've got more of them, right? And until next time, guys, take care.